I'm Yulia Dimitrova, and you are watching the free pre-recorded version of my reading club, which is called the ERC, which stands for the Endless Reading Club. I decided to record this meeting to share with a broader audience how me and other club members challenge our language proficiency and critical thinking, as well as add to our background knowledge and have some intellectual fun. And these are the 4 boxes we're going to tick today. I'm very often asked, what book are you reading now in your club? Well, the thing is, we're not reading a book, we are reading much shorter texts. For example, an article or a passage from a fiction or non-fiction book, a poem or a book summary. It's better show than tell, so see for yourself. Next, about such art movement as Dada. And in the very first slide you see a picture with the most famous Dada art object. So just pause this video for a moment and think. Have you ever heard of this art movement before? Have you ever seen this art object before? What it might mean? What time period this is about? So, if you already know what Dada is, you're just gonna check how well you know that and find out some more details about this art movement. But if you don't know what Dada is, then you're gonna learn where it is coming from. So, what's our plan for today? We're going to look through some useful words that we'll meet in the text later, and we're going to prepare ourselves because, well, knowing lexis in advance will facilitate your reading. Then, we're going to read the text. Then, we're going to interpret some of the art objects that belong to this movement. Then we're going to read the real interpretations made by some professionals. And then we're going to practice the words a bit. So, let's get started with going through the words that we're going to meet later in the text. And here we have 10 sentences. Just to be on the safe side, they are not taken from the text. These are different cases, different contexts. So one of the ways to work through the lexis could be thinking of a word of a lower level with a similar meaning. Well, for example, in the very first case, a hub is usually the center of an activity. In this case, this is a trade. When you look for the word with the same meaning on a lower level, you kind of relate the new word with the one that already exists, and you create the neural connections that help you remember the word better. Not in all cases, well, but still, in some they do help. The second one is, he is now in exile in Jamaica. When someone is in exile, they usually are in a foreign country and they don't have any chance to go back to their country of origin. The next one is dissident. Well, we do have the same word in Russian. This is the person who disagrees with the government. The battle cry is a shout or a phrase used by people who support a particular cause or movement. For example, feminists or BLM, Black Lives Matter. However, well, I don't know what kind of battle cry they have. Maybe you know. So the next one is underpinned by balance. Well, underpinned, you can imagine what kind of object is a pin. Well, underpinned means supported or strengthened. The next one is pertinent, which is a very nice, more advanced substitution of the word relevant. Atrocities, this is a plural noun, which means cruel acts. Poke fun at, well, this is about making fun of someone or ridicule someone. Penned, well, we usually know the word pen as a noun. In this case, this is a verb, and basically it means to write. You can pen a letter, you can pen a book, or you can pen an article. And the last word right here is financial constraints, and basically it means financial limits. So you're going to meet these words later while reading the text. So now let's find out what Dada is. You probably could have guessed at least about some of the features of the movement looking at this lexical file. But well, let's move on to reading. Now we are going to read slides 4 and 5 and learn what Dada is. Your task while you are reading, you have to think how you would sum up the idea of the movement in just one sentence. So, let's take a look at this slide. Pause for a moment, read the text. Okay, hope you're ready. Now the second page, again, pause the video and read it. Okay, so now jot down this sentence that you came up with that would summarize both pages of the text. Okay, perfect. So now you have this one sentence that would help you to describe the movement if you will have to lecture your friends. Lecture in a friendly way, of course. So, now let's see what kind of artwork Dada has to offer. You will see 4 different art objects, an installation, if you might say so, a photo, a poem, and another installation. So I want you to look at these 4 art objects and say, what is repurposed? Because, well, I hope you remember from the text that Dada is very often about repurposing. So what is repurposed? How is it repurposed? And what do you think the artist wanted to say by these objects? So pause for a moment, either think or write, or maybe talk with your friend, answering the questions about these 4 art objects. So now let's read the original interpretations made by people on the internet. Well, I can't say that they're professionals, but well, at least we can compare your opinion with theirs. So now, keeping everything you mentioned in the previous task in mind, read the texts and compare how similar your interpretations or how different they are. So let's start with the will. Pause the video and read this short text. Now let's talk about the photo. Pause the video and read the text. I'm gonna scroll down. All right. Now let's talk about this. Now let's read about this poem. So again, I'm gonna scroll down, pause the video to read the text. And the very last one, the head. Read the text. I'm gonna scroll down. Alright, so now you know how different or similar your interpretations are to the ones here. Well, actually, when we did this task online in Zoom, in one of the club meetings, people usually gave more detailed and imaginative interpretations than the ones right here. So I do hope that you had the same. Well, if not, at least you had some practice because, well, interpreting art takes quite a lot of critical thinking. So now, you remember that at the very beginning we read and clarified some words from the lexical file. We are going to come back to them. And now I want you to remember how these words were used in the very first text that we read. Pause this video and make sentences with the words remembering the context. Wow, well done. That's a great job. Now compare these words with the ones in the text. Just two more words right here. Oh, no, not two, three. So, I do hope that your sentences were quite close to the text. If not, at least you got some practice with the new words. So, this is what this art movement Dada is about. I hope you enjoyed this pre-recorded meeting, and if you want to have this experience face-to-face, meeting all the club members online and taking part in our heated discussions, we usually have 3 time slots and we have these meetings on a weekly basis. So we usually meet on Wednesdays at 12 p.m., on Thursdays at 7 p.m. and on Sundays at 12 p.m. The time zone is Greenwich Mean Time +3, which is Moscow time. So feel free to join us. All the details are in the link, following the link in the description box. There is also a group available for B2 C1 students, well, which is a bit lower level, and we only have 1 time slot for now, which is Sunday 5:30 p.m. The same time zone, GMT +3. If you feel like you want more positive reading experiences but don't want to interact personally, you can always get a pack of 10 best reading experiences, reading meetings that we held last season, in the first season of the club. You can also find all the details in the link in the description box. So, give thumbs up if you enjoyed watching the meeting. Write a comment what you particularly liked about this reading experience and mention if you want more videos of this sort. It was my great pleasure to be a reading guide.